Spider-Man and Deadpool, number 1. It's time to sit back and relax as Plot Armor Comics tells you a story. A story filled with explosions, gratuitous violence, male strippers, and the greatest bromance in the Marvel Universe. This is the story of how Spider-Man and Deadpool became best friends. Our tale begins as any good story should. Two men clad in spandex, bound together with sticky webbing upside down. In the pits of hell, Spider-Man and Deadpool have found themselves captured and mere minutes away from being killed by Dormammu. As usual, Deadpool makes this already tense situation even more awkward by explaining how their predicament excites him, to say the least. Spider-Man desperately tries to get him to stop talking as Dormammu monologues about his evil plan. Eventually, Deadpool manages to dislocate his hip, giving Spider-Man enough room to grab his katana and cut them down. With our intrepid heroes now free, they begin to deliver a serious ass-kicking to Dormammu's minions, the mindless ones. As they fight, even Dormammu wonders why a respected superhero like Spider-Man would be hanging around an infamous mercenary like Deadpool. And thus begins our flashback. At a wastewater treatment plant, Spider-Man unveils his new sonic disruptor web shooters on Hydro Man. The vibrations seem to be doing an excellent job of destabilizing Hydro Man, until Deadpool enters the picture. Despite Spider-Man's protests, Deadpool refuses to leave him alone. Deadpool shows Spidey his new moral compass app that helps guide his ethical decisions. The app lands on chaotic neutral, meaning he gets to do whatever he thinks is best. The best kind of morality. Deadpool wraps Spider-Man in a bear hug and bamps them away, leaving Hydro Man free to resume his crimes. It turns out that Deadpool teleported them away to deal with an Avengers-level threat in hell. As the two fight the mindless ones, Deadpool pulls out multiple brains from his pocket. Apparently, he had taken these brains from a morgue. He rapidly begins to shove these organs into the heads of the mindless ones, turning them into the mindful ones. Spider-Man points out how nonsensical this is, but it does manage to work. With their new brains, the mindful ones begin to question Dormammu's authority and demand better working conditions. This causes them to rise against Dormammu. Deadpool accidentally reveals that this whole escapade was a job interview for Spider-Man. An enraged Spidey orders Wade to take them back to New York. Once they make it out of hell, Deadpool tries to convince Spider-Man that he's turned good and that working for him would be much better than working for Peter Parker. Spidey explains that Peter is using his intelligence to make the world a better place when he realizes that he's late for a meeting. He asks Deadpool about his teleporter belt, but Wade reveals that he's been using a collared demon given to him by his wife to bamf to different places. Spider-Man removes the collar from the demon and leaves Deadpool to deal with the pissed off creature. Peter tries to catch up on everything he missed from the meeting when Deadpool shows back up, missing a hand from the demon. He points out that Hydro Man is also back and much bigger than he was before. Hydro Man demands $100 million or he'll drown the city in sewage water. The heroes get flooded in sewage, which pushes Spider-Man to his limit. Deadpool gets tossed inside of Hydro Man along with some live incendiary grenades that blow them both up. As Spider-Man washes the filth off his suit, Deadpool comes waddling in with just his upper half. At this point, Deadpool has run out of jokes and decides to be genuine for once. He tells Spider-Man that he's trying his best to be a different person. Wade wants to be a good guy, and his biggest wish is to earn Spider-Man's respect. Peter swings off without saying anything, but Wade's words seem to have affected him. Back in hell, Dormammu and Deadpool argue over payment. It turns out that the Dormammu that they went up against was just a monster that Deadpool had hired. You can never trust the merc with the mouth. Deadpool gives his morality compass one last spin. It lands on heroic good, as he looks at a hit job on Peter Parker for $100 million. Wade decides that killing Peter is the heroic thing to do, and hopes that he and Spider-Man can still be friends after he's dead. Friendships can be complicated sometimes. Before Deadpool starts his assassination job, Be sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on to never miss an upload, and smash that like button for some plot armor today. Spider-Man and Deadpool, number 2. The next morning, Peter Parker prepares to unveil Parker Industries' next big product, the WebWare 2.0, a smartwatch that monitors biorhythms. At the same time, Deadpool is in bed with his wife, debating whether he should take the assassination job on Peter or not. Now that Deadpool is an Avenger, he can't murder random people like he's used to. He needs an airtight justification if he's going to kill someone he thinks is Spider-Man's boss. Deadpool shows his wife evidence of Peter's inhumane experimentation that even disgusts the Queen of the Damned. Deadpool is smart enough to realize that his potential employer might be faking evidence to motivate him into taking the job, which makes him conflicted. Luckily, Shikla has a simple solution. All Deadpool needs to do is confirm the evidence himself. If the evidence is real, kill Parker. If it's fake, kill the employer. It's a win either way. Back in New York, Spider-Man is swinging around on patrol to clear his mind when he gets a message from Miles Morales about a mugging spree. It turns out it was Deadpool, putting on a very awkward hugging spree. Miles tries to stop him, but Deadpool calls him a clone until Peter thwips him away. The hugging spree was Deadpool's way of non-violently getting Spider-Man's attention. All he wanted was to ask him if Peter Parker was secretly evil, but before he could get an answer, both Miles and Peter's spider sense goes off like crazy. Both Spider-Man immediately leap into action and begin battling an army of green goblins that suddenly appeared. Deadpool is quick to realize that it's a mass hallucination that everyone is under except for those without WebWare 2.0 watches. As Miles and Peter are fighting the hallucinations, Deadpool comes racing up a building in his dead buggy, Spider-Man's repurposed spider buggy. Wade leaps out and tackles Peter in the middle of the air. The two Spider-Man begin attacking Deadpool, believing that he's betrayed them, but Wade manages to shoot off their WebWare watches. This frees them from their hallucinations. Peter quickly apologizes to Wade and deduces that someone must have hacked the WebWare network and programmed it to project hallucinations into the user's brains. Deadpool is confident that Peter is the one behind it, but clearly Spider-Man believes that it's someone else. Wade expresses some jealousy that Peter Parker gets Spider-Man's trust, but he doesn't. While this is happening, Mysterio has attacked Parker Industries and is tormenting the scientists with hallucinations. Before he can do any serious damage, the Spider-Man and Deadpool come crashing through the wall. Wade immediately runs over Mysterio before anyone can react. Spider-Man rushes to shut down the WebWare transmission and warns Deadpool to prepare for Mysterio to reappear. Everyone is surprised to discover that Wade hit the real Mysterio and that he was close to death. Deadpool laments the fact that he didn't want to kill anyone today and starts performing CPR on Mysterio. This keeps him alive long enough for the medics to show up and stabilize him. Spider-Man is so impressed that Deadpool actually saved a life that he gives him his phone number. As Spider-Man leaves, Deadpool decides that this is the perfect moment to do some snooping around Parker Industries. Wade stumbles into a room and finds a bunch of scientists performing heinous human experiments. This is exactly what Deadpool was looking for and begins to slaughter the scientists with glee. In the middle of his bloodbath, Wade calls the client for the assassination job. He tells Patient Zero that he's willing to take the gig. Peter Parker is officially in Deadpool's crosshairs. Spider-Man and Deadpool, number 3. The next day, Peter goes to visit Mysterio in the hospital. The supervillain is in a coma from his injuries, but it has been confirmed that it's the real Mysterio in the hospital bed. Just as Peter is about to start flirting with the doctor, Deadpool barges in with a clown mask and balloons. Deadpool contemplates killing Peter right in the hospital room, but is interrupted by Spider-Man showing up. This isn't the real Spider-Man, but a man named Hobby Brown, aka the Prowler, that poses as him so Peter and Spidey can be seen together in the same room. Later on, the real Spider-Man decides to give Deadpool a shot and hang out with him for the day. Peter puts a lie detector device on Wade that will shock him if he's being dishonest. After a disastrous fake charity event, Deadpool decides to take Spider-Man on one of his jobs with the Mercs for money. The group is having a good time fighting members of a cult that have been harassing a small town in Bolivia. Everything is going great at first. All of Deadpool's employees are using rubber bullets and using non-lethal means. Eventually, Spider-Man realized that Deadpool paid everyone to say nice things about him. Deadpool and Spider-Man leave the rest of the Mercs behind to take down the leaders of the cult, but they are ambushed by sticks and stone. The two supervillains have the power to decay organic and inorganic material respectively. The fight begins with Spider-Man taking on sticks and Deadpool going for stone. The battle goes poorly for the heroes at first though, and they're forced to retreat. As they fall back, Spider-Man realizes that they're defending a drug manufacturing operation. Naturally, this upsets Spider-Man that he's inadvertently defending a drug cartel. Deadpool explains that the people here don't have a choice about whether they make drugs or not. They're just doing what they need to survive, and that shouldn't mean they don't deserve protection. Spider-Man sees Deadpool's point and decides to keep helping. They switch opponents, allowing Spider-Man to throw a barrel of chemicals on Stone that nullify his powers. The dynamic duo defeats Sticks and Stone, forcing them to retreat. Deadpool was injured pretty badly during the fight, so Spidey carries him bridal style into the sunset. Before they end their day of heroics, they have one last stop to make, since it's Thursday. Deadpool takes Spider-Man to a secure house that blocks out all signals. The house is actually the home of Wade's daughter, Ellie Preston. Every Thursday, Wade comes to spend time with his daughter and tell her a toned-down version of his adventures. Deadpool introduces Ellie to her uncle Spidey. She gushes about how much Deadpool talks about Spider-Man and how they're the best of friends. The interaction seems to touch Spider-Man and make him see Deadpool in a new light. Later that night, Deadpool gets in contact with one of his Mercs. It's revealed that they had another mission besides saving poor Bolivian farmers. During the battle, they scanned all of Spider-Man's movements. With that data, they realized that it is pretty much impossible to sneak past Spider-Man or surprise him. The only way to get to Peter Parker is to remove Spider-Man somehow. If only they knew how right they are. This information seems to spark a new plan in Deadpool's mind. He'll exploit his new friendship with Spider-Man to create an opening for Peter. Just when you think Deadpool's turned over a new leaf, he goes right back to his old tricks. The night ends with Peter trying to figure out a way to help that town in Bolivia, and an unknown figure placing a strange device in front of Mysterio. Spider-Man and Deadpool, number 4. The next time we see our titular heroes, Deadpool is in the middle of a firefight while on the plane with Spider-Man. This time around, Spidey is the one that initiates the hangout by asking if Deadpool wants to meet tonight. Just like a schoolgirl asked to prom, Deadpool happily accepts and tells Spider-Man to wear comfortable shoes. Both heroes prepare for their special hangout in their own ways. Peter does his best to convince his head of research and development, Anna Maria, that Deadpool has changed for the better. On Deadpool's side of things, he's busy patching up bullet holes while his wife expresses her concern about the Parker assassination job. Wade has been wearing his mask more often and is bringing in some mysterious and dangerous woman to help take out Parker. Shikla is worried that Wade is trying to be two different people simultaneously. The chaotic, murderous Deadpool she fell in love with, and the heroic good man that's trying to impress Spider-Man. He can only be one. That night, Spidey meets Deadpool outside the Hell House Club. Wade tries to entice Spider-Man inside with the promise of beautiful women, but he refuses to take off his mask. Luckily, Deadpool has an alternative option. He whips out an image inducer belt that will alter his appearance without the need to remove his mask. Spider-Man's new persona is a recent divorcee named Leonardo DiCaprio. Things are a little awkward at first when Spider-Man realizes that he's suddenly become a black man, but Wade tells him that a woman named Jenny will be into it. Once inside the club, Deadpool reveals that he set Spidey up on a blind date with a gorgeous woman. Peter and Jenny quickly hit things off as they bond over their shared love for science and their traumatic past. Deadpool starts to get annoyed that he's become a third wheel when his own date finally shows up. Instead of his wife, Jane Foster, the current Thor, shows up. It turns out that Thor is on Deadpool's free pass list that was already pre-negotiated with Shikla. It's worth noting that Spider-Man is also on that list. Unsurprising to anyone, Thor didn't agree to a date with Deadpool. He tricked her into coming by calling her on the Avengers emergency signal. As Thor is questioning Deadpool, Peter's date Jenny begins to transform into something hellish. She suddenly lunges at Thor in her true devil form. Deadpool had conveniently left out the part that Jenny was one of Shikla's cousins and holds a major grudge against Asgardians. Long ago, the Asgardians had enslaved Jenny's ancestors, which left a sore spot to say the least. It seems this battle between the devil and the Asgardian goddess was exactly what Deadpool was planning. Wade presses a button and a mud pit opens up from the floor. A mud wrestling match between two attractive women seems to be the good time that Wade was hoping to show Peter. Sadly for them, that plan falls through when Thor notices the pit. Things are about to turn violent for Deadpool when Spider-Man offers to do anything if they spare his life. That anything turns out to be the both of them dancing in their underwear for the pleasure of the women in the club. Deadpool is ready to fight his way out, but Spider-Man is more than willing to bust a move for the ladies. This inspires Wade to join in. For the rest of the night, the two men thrill the ladies of Hell House. As the sun rises, Spider-Man thanks Wade for showing him a great night and even suggests that they should do this again sometime. Spideypool have officially become friends. Too bad that's almost immediately ruined by Deadpool showing up at Peter's place and shooting him in the head. Wade leaves the crime scene feeling satisfied that he took out a seemingly evil man. He tries to call Spider-Man, completely unaware that he just murdered his new best friend. Spider-Man and Deadpool, number 5. The impossible has happened. The spectacular Spider-Man has died at the hands of Deadpool, of all people. Instead of the typical heaven or hell, Peter Parker has found himself in a strange afterlife with a mysterious Spider-Woman beckoning him. In the real hell, Deadpool and Shikla are getting ready to watch Peter's soul be tortured for all of eternity, proper attire and all. Unfortunately, they are unable to locate Peter's soul anywhere in the pits of hell. In the land of the living, someone new has taken Peter's place and is blending in surprisingly well. The real Peter is having a much more difficult time as he struggles against a massive multi-eyed creature. Deadpool and Shikla have returned to Peter's apartment just to make absolutely sure that he's dead. Wade was certain that Peter was an evil mastermind, so the fact that he's not in hell is raising some serious red flags. Shikla would rather forget the whole thing and have some fun of her own, but Deadpool's morality app is pushing him to make sure that nothing went wrong, and there's only one way to do that. Back in Peter's afterlife, the many-eyed monster is explaining how Peter ruined his life and how he can't wait to enact his eternal revenge upon him. Peter realizes that this creature is somehow Mysterio. Just as he figures this out, Peter disappears and suddenly wakes back up in his body. Peter's second life is short-lived though, as Deadpool shoots him in the head again with a shotgun. Shikla had revived Peter just so Deadpool could kill him again in the hopes that this time he would wind up in hell. Unfortunately, the afterlife isn't like a computer that can be turned off and on to fix the problem. Peter Parker is still not in hell, which means that Deadpool has killed an innocent man. Big surprise. Despite the setback, Wade is still determined to make this good guy thing work, so he has one last plan to try out. Once again, Peter is back in his twisted afterlife, being tormented by Mysterio. Dead individuals from his past, like Gwen Stacy, Uncle Ben, and Doc Ock, all haunt him. Just as Mysterio is basking in the glory of his revenge, Deadpool makes his typical violent introduction and saves Peter from his ghosts. Wade gives Peter a brief rundown of everything that happened. When Peter died, Mysterio somehow managed to kidnap his soul and take it to Limbo. To save him, Deadpool had Shikla temporarily kill him. Conveniently, Deadpool leaves out the detail that it was he who killed Peter. Anyway, Wade informs Peter that he has to be the one to defeat Mysterio if he wants to escape Limbo. Because he's not meant to be here, he can manipulate his soul to act as a weapon to fight Mysterio, like how Deadpool has been manifesting firearms. Peter chooses the form that has always given him the most power, Spider-Man. The spectral Spider-Man makes easy work of Mysterio, crushing his illusions and smashing the supervillain straight out of Limbo. During the battle, Deadpool realizes that he was completely wrong about Peter and that he's a pure-hearted person. When the dust settles, Peter finds himself standing before Mephisto, who tells him an important secret. While Peter talks to Mephisto, Deadpool wanders through Limbo, looking for his latest murder victim. Instead of Parker, he finds his oldest true love, Death. She tells him that it's painful having him be close to her when she knows that she can't have him. Wade explains to her that he's trying to be a better person. Death recognizes this and warns him that there will be a price to pay. Just as they're about to kiss, Deadpool returns to the living world and a very pissed off wife. Later on, Peter wakes up in his bed and recalls Mephisto's words. He will never find true happiness because he will always know that something is missing. Before leaving his apartment, Deadpool leaves Peter a note explaining everything that happened, apologizing for murdering him, asking him not to tell Spider-Man, and finally promising to hunt down the man that hired him. The night ends with the imposter Peter at Parker Industries making a clean getaway. As he enters his limo, the imposter takes off his mask and reveals that he's Patient Zero, the man that hired Deadpool to kill Peter. Spider-Man and Deadpool, number 8. It's been some days and a few off issues since Deadpool killed Spider-Man twice and ultimately saved his life. During this off time, Deadpool has been playing with his daughter and pushing her to less murderous conclusions to her playtime. Spider-Man, on the other hand, has been racking his brain, trying to figure out who was impersonating him while he was dead. This person used Mysterio as a distraction and perfectly mimicked Peter's body language and manners. They have also hacked the company's systems to accept DNA. This security breach isn't even the only issue occupying Peter's mind. Mephisto's ominous words are also running through his head. Peter still has a lot of questions, but he knows where to start looking for answers. He has Anna Maria start tracking the beacon that he slipped onto Deadpool. Deadpool is also on the hunt for answers. He's tracked his employers to a glass house in the middle of the woods. Just as he's about to go in, Spider-Man shows up in an intimidating black suit. Peter is still holding a major grudge against Deadpool for killing him, but the one thing that he wants to know is, was any of it real? Was Wade's change to good all just a trick so that he could get to Peter? Before he can answer, a bright light starts emitting from the glass house, giving Spider-Man the perfect opportunity to let out some aggression. Inside the glass house, Patient Zero is celebrating his rebirth day with his horrific monsters. Spidey and Deadpool come crashing through the ceiling and launch into a full-blown assault. The two heroes quickly realize that the monsters are mutating humans and go for a non-lethal approach. Spider-Man tells Deadpool to go for the control units on the back of the creatures' necks. Once they're removed, the monsters are no longer under Patient Zero's control, but they also start to beg for death. Patient Zero reveals that the control units also dampen their pain and prevent them from realizing what's been done to their bodies. More mutants begin to emerge from portals surrounding Deadpool and Spider-Man. They rush into the fray while Spider-Man explains Patient Zero's plan. While posing as Peter, Patient Zero stole all of Parker Industries' research on genetic splicing to upgrade his monster-making process. Spider-Man also theorizes that Patient Zero was planning on taking down the whole company, but was spooked off before he could. Patient Zero gives Spider-Man points for being close, but tells him that he's missing an important piece. This whole thing was a personal attack on Deadpool and Spider-Man. Patient Zero begins to leave through a portal, but Deadpool tosses a couple of grenades after him. This does nothing but blow a hole in the floor and drop Spidey and Deadpool down a couple of floors. After recovering from their fall, Patient Zero reappears with a strange box. Both Spider-Man and Deadpool unleash a volley of attacks on him, but they all fly straight through his hologram form. Patient Zero tells them that he chose his name because he has been infected by the actions of Spidey and Deadpool. He is someone from their past whose life was ruined by both of them. Just as the hologram of Patient Zero fades away, the box he had with him activates and turns into a powerful glass magnet. The glass house begins to collapse in on itself, sending thousands of razor-sharp shards hurtling towards our heroes. Deadpool attempts to valiantly sacrifice himself by using his body as a shield for Spider-Man, but Peter acts faster and creates a dome of webbing that mostly protects them from the glass. It'll take a while before the web dissolves, which gives Spider-Man and Deadpool plenty of time to work out their problems. Wade explains that the friendship was genuine and that he was only trying to protect Spider-Man. Deadpool believed that learning that Peter was some evil scientist might break him and kill his hopeful spirit. During Wade's apology, he removes his mask and reveals that his face is completely normal. All the scar tissue and tumors that usually cover his body are entirely gone for some reason. Somewhere in a high-rise apartment, Patient Zero emerges from a portal and talks to a woman hooked up to what seems to be bags of Spider-Man and Deadpool's blood. Patient Zero tells the woman that when he's done with her, work and play will be the same thing for her. A lot of questions remain unanswered. Who is Patient Zero and why does he hold a grudge against Deadpool and Spidey? Who is this mysterious woman and what does she want? Why is Deadpool hot? But those answers are for another video. What did you think of the epic bromance between Spider-Man and Deadpool? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching to the end. Until next time, keep that plot armor on you. I'm Anthony Fan. Have a great day. Goodbye.